All right, welcome to today's market recap. Today is January 16th, 2025. Happy Friday, everybody. I took no trades today. However, there was actually two that weren't too bad at all. But I'll go over the reasons why I didn't take them. So coming into this morning, I was actually leaning a lot more bullish than I was bearish. Overnight came along and we essentially, well, this candle was not here yet. We essentially just ripped up. So I was like, okay, cool. We inverse this 1 hour gap. We were respecting these 1 hour gaps on here. Coming to the 4 hours, same thing. We inverse this 4 hour gap back to the upside. We did inverse this 4 hour gap to the downside. However, if you're coming over to ES was respecting this 4 hour gap, and then we were continuing higher. ES also had a 1 hour inversion back to the upside as well. So I was expecting market open to retrace into somewhere like 50% range of this general area, and then we can continue higher, maybe towards previous day, maybe towards this devil's mark. And I love devil's mark as areas of liquidity. But as you guys can see, we ended up what did we end up doing? Market open, and we ended up manipulating higher, which was completely fine because I was fine with taking shorts even though I was bullish on the higher time frame. And the reason for that being is because we had all this fucking low resistance liquidity right here. And on top of that, we had all of these lows down here as well. So we come to the 5 minute. This is what it looks like. All these stacked lows. There's this low, there's this low, there's this low. Bam, 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 bam. All these lows down here. A whole bunch of unfilled for value gaps beneath as well. And the reason why I really liked shorts in this scenario right here was because we came up and we hit this unfilled 15-minute gap, which was also a devil's mark on the 4 hours. So we put in a wick to that candle. And when we did that, we created an SMT with these 615 highs. So if we come over here on ES, 615 highs are resting somewhere in this general area right here. So with that being said, we had an SMT there. Okay. We also already had an SMT with the 3M highs. Nasdaq already came and took those out. Here they are right here. So we had a double SMT. And then when ES came and put in the wick to the devil's mark, Nasdaq came and filled this 15-minute gap and then rejected this 5-minute gap perfectly. We came up into this 5-minute gap and rejected that absolutely perfectly. And then from there, I was looking to take shorts, but I just couldn't find a valid entry in my eyes. I wanted this 1 minute off of this wick right here, or not wick, but off this candle. And I was hoping this 1 minute candle closed because I was going to smack this 10 out of 10 times. This is what my trade idea would have looked like. And then I was going to target these lows down here, which I believe these were London. Yeah, I was going to go ahead and target London lows. And this is what my trade idea would have looked like. However, we ended up respecting this 1 minute. I was about to click it and we ended up respecting it. And from here, start chopping around, and then we end up inversing this 1 minute right here as well. Now, the reason I didn't like this is because I like inversions that happen cleanly, and not saying this wasn't that clean, but it just took a million fucking candles to inverse this 1 minute gap. Now, it didn't look too bad. TP would have still been in the same area, and I would have went break even. Let's see where I would have went break even at. Nothing on the 15 minute. Let's see about the 5 minute. Roughly about these 5 minute lows right here. So break even point right here. Let's see if this would have ended up playing out, or if I would have ended up going break even. Probably would have went break even on this trade, which is fine with me. If you guys held, that's perfectly fine as well. GG's for you guys. But there was one trade I liked a lot more, but again, I just stayed hands off because it wasn't in discount of the range. So we ended up chopping down. And when we chopped down, we ended up hitting this hourly for value gap. And then what else did we come out and hit? What is this? True day open right here. So we came down and hit both of those, and then 10 a.m. opened high into this 5 minute for value gap right here. So let me just get rid of this. So 10 a.m. open high into this 5 minute for value gap, and I was like, cool. I wasn't necessarily more worried about this 1 hour to the left of us because we already ran through these other hourly gaps. Let's see, there were two tiny ones. There was one right here. Okay, super tiny, and then there was another one right here as well. You guys can see it. So we ended up inversing both of those, and this candle is showing me strong displacement. We have an SMT at the highs, put in the devil's mark, and the SMT is inside of a 15-minute gap. So I was like, okay, this 1 hour doesn't really mean much to me, but it could send price higher in a possible retracement. And then there ended up being this 3 minute short out of this 5 minute for value gap right here. So we had what's it called, this 3 minute short, and the reason I didn't take this was because one of two things. We had this unfilled 5 minute basically at our stop loss, And with that being said, it wasn't at or near equilibrium of this range. So I was going to take this short, but I wanted to see this 5 minute get hit, and then I was going to be perfectly fine with doing it. There was another short the other day, I think it was Wednesday, where it was basically the exact same scenario. We came up and we retraced into the first 5 minute gap, and there was a 1 minute inversion out of it, and then we ended up doing something like this, coming and hitting this other 5 minute and then continuing lower. So it played out today. It doesn't always play out. Those are definitely less probable trades, just to keep it 100% with you guys, but it still played out. So GG's if you guys took that. We were super fucking bearish overall. So, I mean, if you guys had the conviction, you had the conviction. And then we also had these higher time frame lows down here. These higher time frame relative equal lows. We had this low, and then this second low, or technically this first low, was a unfilled 4-hour fair value gap. So we had clear draws on liquidity. It looked pretty nice. However, at this point in time, I was looking to take a mech model towards these unfilled gaps up here. So we ended up creating an unfilled 15-minute gap right here. And I wanted to see a mech. We ended up hitting this 5 minute, got the rejection lower, ended up taking out this internal low, and I wanted to see an SMT off this internal low. I don't think we ended up getting it, or we did have it. And I wanted to see then from here, I believe it was a 2 minute. Yeah, there was a 2 minute right here. Right, we have our higher time frame narrative with this 1 hour. I wanted to see this 2 minute just get basically fucked on. I think there was a 3 minute also that got created that would have waited for. And if this 3 minute would have got closed on, a 15 minute would have been my break even point, and the 5 minute would have been my take profit. I like that mech. However, we just continued lower and lower and lower, so I wasn't really too worried about it. We ended up coming down and not really doing much, just continuing to shit the bed the rest of the day. And I don't really know what we're doing right now. I think we're just going sideways. Yeah, it looks like we're kind of just chopping up. So really, those were the only two trades I seen today. Was this 1 minute up here, which didn't look too bad. Clear draws lower, all this LR. Pretty good trade, especially on an eval. Would have been a pretty good trade. And then there was this 3 minute as well. That was another good eval trade as well. However, I didn't like any of them just because this wasn't near equilibrium, and this took a million fucking candles to invert this 1 minute gap. So I figured it was a no news Friday that we were possibly going to chop around due to the fact that fucking overnight session just continuously ripped up. But we ended up having actually pretty decent price action today, and we ended up delivering to these draws pretty fucking cleanly. So can't complain about that. So with that being said, that will be all for today's recap. There will be a YouTube video coming out later today. It's going to be another technical analysis video, and then tomorrow as well on Saturday. If you guys want to join the free Discord, link is in the description, and you need to up your allocation, link is in the description for that as well. It's 35% off, code LoeGpa on Loose Trade. Hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Enjoy your weekend. There's a 3-day weekend. We have there's a bank holiday on Monday. I think it's Martin Luther King Day, something like that. So 3-day weekend, enjoy it, and I'll catch y'all boys on Tuesday.